Imagine this. You save diligently, month after month, trusting that your balance will quietly grow into something meaningful. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If your savings account pays just 1% interest, your money will take roughly 72 years to double. 72. That's almost a lifetime for a single doubling. Now, here's the kicker. Prices won't wait that long. You go to the grocery store and realize the same $50 that once filled your cart now barely covers a week's meals. You're saving, you're doing everything right, yet somehow you're still falling behind. Why does that happen? Because while your account balance grows in numbers, its real value, what it can actually buy, is quietly shrinking. Every year that your money grows slower than prices, it loses purchasing power. Most people don't notice this until decades later, usually around retirement, when they realize that the money they've built doesn't stretch nearly as far as they imagined. And that's when the illusion shatters. Before we fix this problem, we need to understand why it happens in the first place. Let's start with what really hurts people financially: the silent gap between what your money is and what it does. You see your savings account balance ticking upward, and it feels like progress. But beneath the surface, something else is happening. The cost of everything, groceries, rent, utilities, even a cup of coffee, creeps upward just a little each year. So quietly that you barely notice. Until one day, you realize your money doesn't go as far as it used to. This is inflation at work, the slow leak that drains your purchasing power. Now imagine this. Your bank pays 1% interest while inflation averages 4%. That means your real return isn't plus 1%, it's minus 3%. You're not moving forward, you're slipping backward. Here's the tricky part. It doesn't feel like you're losing money because your account balance still rises. But that growth is an illusion. It's like walking up a down escalator. Your legs are moving, but you're still being pulled backward. And the longer it goes on, the worse it gets. Because inflation compounds too. Each year, the base of your purchasing power shrinks, which means every new year starts from a weaker position. That's why people reach retirement feeling confused. They saved, they were careful, they avoided debt, yet their money doesn't buy what they thought it would. But there's a simple way to see through this illusion. A 5-second shortcut that shows whether time is working for you or against you. There's an old mental trick bankers used long before calculators existed, a way to tell in seconds how fast money doubles. It's called the Rule of 72, and it's still one of the smartest shortcuts in finance. Here's how it works. Take the number 72, divide it by your annual rate of return, and the result tells you roughly how many years it'll take for your money to double. That's it. Just a quick mental test you can do anywhere. If your investments grow by 10% a year, 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2 years. Your money doubles roughly every 7 years. At 6%, it's 12 years. At 3%, it's 24 years. And at 1%, a lifetime. This simple number makes the invisible visible. It shows you how different returns unfold over time, and how even small percentage changes can completely alter your financial trajectory. Let's make it personal for a second. If you plan to retire in, say, 25 years, the Rule of 72 tells you exactly how many doubling cycles fit into that window. At 10%, you get more than 3 doubles. At 4%, you barely get 1. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The Rule of 72 doesn't just reveal how fast your money grows, it exposes the one advantage that can beat even higher returns, something no amount of money can buy back later. There's one factor more powerful than chasing higher returns, and that's starting early. Let me show you with a story. Maya starts investing at age 24. She sets aside $250 a month, earning around 10% a year, and keeps it going for 32 years. Nothing extreme, just consistency. By the time she's 56, her account has grown to roughly $600,000. Now let's meet Ethan. He's a little older, more established, and can afford to invest $450 a month. But he waits until 34 to start, 10 years later. He invests for 22 years at the same 10% return and ends up with about $360,000. Ethan contributed more money every month, yet he ends up with almost half as much. Why? Because Maya had extra doubling cycles. Her money got more turns on the compounding wheel. That's the hidden magic of time. It multiplies quietly in the background. Early contributions don't just grow, they start producing their own returns, which then generate more returns. It's like planting a tree. Nothing visible at first, but years later it's towering because growth compounds underground. Starting late means you're planting that tree years after the season has passed. You can water it more, sure, but you'll never get those missing years of growth back. That's why time is the one asset no investor can buy later. So the question becomes, once you've planted that seed, how do you choose where it grows best? And how do you balance growth with safety? Once you understand the power of compounding, the next question is where to put your money so that each doubling cycle actually happens fast enough to matter. Because not all engines grow at the same speed. Let's compare them side by side using our 72-rule shortcut. A savings account earning 1%? 72 divided by 1 equals 72 years to double. That's basically a lifetime for a single doubling. And that's before inflation erases a chunk of it. Move to short-term government bonds yielding around 5%, and suddenly it's 72 divided by 5 equals 14.4 years. Better, but still slow compared to your working life. Now look at the long-term historical average of the S&P 500, roughly 10% a year. 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2 years. That's 10 times faster than that 1% account. Then there's real estate, averaging close to 8% per year when you include appreciation and rental income, about 9 years per doubling. Plus, real estate offers leverage. Your returns compound not just on your money but on borrowed capital too. And finally, there are the high volatility plays: crypto, startups, speculative assets. Over the past decade, Bitcoin's average annual return has been astronomical, sometimes near 90%, meaning a theoretical doubling time of less than a year. But here's the catch. With volatility that wild, most investors don't stay invested long enough to enjoy those gains. That's why intelligent investors don't bet everything on the fastest engine. They build portfolios like a machine, stable components for security, faster ones for growth, and smaller, riskier parts for optional upside. Because a short doubling time only helps if you can stay invested long enough to benefit from it. Still, even the perfect portfolio can fail if you forget one thing. The real enemy isn't low returns. It's inflation silently stretching your doubling timeline. Here's where most people get tricked. They think doubling their money means they're twice as rich, but that's only true on paper. Let's say your investments return 6% a year and inflation runs at 4%. You're technically growing, but your real gain, what your money can actually buy, is only about 2%. That means your real doubling time isn't 12 years. It's closer to 36 years when you factor in inflation's drag. That's why relying on nominal returns, the raw numbers, can make you feel secure while you're actually losing ground. Fees, taxes, and inflation quietly extend the clock, stealing the future your statements say you're building. So the real goal isn't just doubling your money, it's beating inflation on purpose. That means designing a mix of assets that can keep up with the rising cost of life while still letting you sleep at night. For some, that might mean keeping part of the portfolio in stable, lower-yield investments for security, and another part in higher growth options like stocks or real estate that have historically outpaced inflation. It's not about chasing the shortest possible doubling time. It's about building a portfolio strong enough to deliver multiple doubling cycles over the years, even through market storms. And once you understand that balance, you can turn this simple math into something powerful. A system that tells you, in under a minute, whether your money is actually working hard enough. You don't need to be an analyst to know if your money is on the right track. In fact, you can test it in less than a minute using what we've already learned. Here's how. Step 1. Write down each of your main accounts: savings, bonds, stocks, real estate, maybe crypto. Step 2. Next to each one, note its average or expected annual return. Step 3. Apply the rule of 72. Divide 72 by that return. That's your nominal doubling time. Step 4. Now, make a quick mental adjustment for inflation. If inflation averages 3% and your return is 7%, your real return is about 4%. That's the number that truly matters. Now, compare those doubling times to your goals. If you plan to retire in 25 years, but your average real return means your money only doubles every 30, you're already behind. That's your signal to make changes. Maybe it's reallocating toward assets with higher long-term growth. Maybe it's trimming unnecessary fees or reinvesting dividends instead of withdrawing them. Sometimes the fastest way forward isn't chasing risk. It's stopping small leaks that quietly slow your compounding. And here's the beauty of this exercise. Once you do it once, you'll start to see time differently. You'll realize that every financial decision either shortens or lengthens your doubling timeline. You'll start asking better questions. Is this account helping me move faster or holding me back? And when you start seeing your finances through that lens, you stop guessing and start managing your future with clarity. Once you understand the math, something shifts inside you. You stop chasing returns and start building systems that grow quietly over time. The Rule of 72 is a reminder of what really builds wealth: time, consistency, and direction. It's about planting the right seeds and letting compounding do what it's built to do: multiply silently. Because here's the truth: real wealth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream from luxury cars or shiny accounts. It builds in the background, fueled by small, steady decisions that keep doubling again and again. So here's a challenge for you. Grab your calculator, or better yet, do it in your head. Take your expected return, divide 72 by it, and see how many years it takes for your money to double. Then ask yourself, is that fast enough for the life I want? If not, maybe it's time to rework the engine. Find the balance between safety and growth. Choose assets that beat inflation. And most importantly, start early. Because the most valuable resource in finance isn't money, it's time. If this video gave you a new way to think about money, give it a like, and tell me in the comments how fast your money is really growing. Thank you for watching.